So we're still doing Punk Goes Pop, huh? Fantastic. What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It is time for a review of, yes, the 7th installment in the Punk Goes Pop series, which I think have all gotten over the fact at this point that it's not actually punk bands doing these covers. It's more like metalcore, hardcore, pop, punk goes pop. But we're past that. Punk Goes Pop Volume 7. The last one was released, Volume 6, of course, in 2014. So it's been about 3 years. So I guess Fearless Records just decided, hey, it's time to cash another check. It's been a while. We're not thriving as a label, perhaps, and let's put out some brand new covers. And the biggest problem that I have with not only this, but some of the past installments, is just the fact that some of these bands just don't seem to understand what makes a cover good. What makes a cover song good is whenever it's unique, whenever it adds something and builds onto the original song, not just playing the song note for note on a guitar instead of playing it on the synth or whatever it was originally done with, whatever the production was. I think a lot of the bands this time around just kind of cruised, like Seaway on their Closer cover, which was originally by Halsey and the Chainsmokers. It's literally just a recreation of that song, mainly from just a male point of view, I guess, and a guitar instead of, the other instruments and the Chainsmokers. It's not good. And whenever I listen through this project, I want to like some of these covers, like Grayscale, for example. They definitely give it their all in terms of how they're performing, but I've heard so many covers of the Justin Bieber track Love Yourself already. Why should I care about yours if you're not going that extra mile to make it stand out? Now, I will say there's a few things in the guitar that actually sound pretty cool, but especially the bridge of the track and the chorus, it just sounds all too familiar, and the guitar is styled very, very similarly to the way that Justin Bieber, or I guess I should say Ed Sheeran's, was whenever they wrote and penned and created that track. So, what are the best songs here? What are the worst? I think the best performances really given all throughout have to go to, surprisingly, Andy Black and Juliet Sims on the team-up cover of When We Were Young by Adele originally. That is a fantastic cover, I think. They add something to the guitar, they spice up the pianos, make them a little bit more bombastic, and I think that their vocal performance on this is just ace. Honestly, I think Andy really steals the show here, and I've never had anything at all against his voice. I think some people have it in their head that I don't like him or I don't like Black Veil Brides, but that's not really the case at all. I just don't often care for the music that they make. But this is a wonderful cover here, and I think that it's probably the highlight of the entire project. That, along with, I do really enjoy the That's What I Like cover by Dance Gavin Dance. It actually adds some spunk, some personality, the shouts and screams and the off-kilter guitars and the way that they change up the lyrics a little bit. It's fun, and they just get it. They get it. They get what the others don't in terms of making something fresh here. Like back in the day, I remember really enjoying the We Came as Romans cover of My Love by Justin Timberlake originally. And that one is great because it actually builds on those electronic elements, layers over the guitars, add in some harsh screams and that sort of thing, and I would actually listen to that song. But whenever I come to Punk Goes Pop these days, I feel like I would never listen to these songs just because they're so similar to the original. I would maybe only listen to these covers if I was a huge fan of the band and I just really like the singer of the band's voice or something like that. Other than that, I am not seeing the draw for this whatsoever. I think the Gangsta cover was also kind of surprising to me. It's done by New Year's Day here, a band that I am not a fan of. I accidentally caught part of their set at Warped Tour, and that was not a fun time at all. It is completely cheesy, just the way that she hypes up the crowd and everything like that. Oh, I think you're gonna be the best crowd here. Oh, this song goes out to all the weirdos. Just all the cliches that you could possibly nail. She literally hit all of them as she talked to the crowd, and just the lyrics of their songs that I've heard and that sort of thing. Not for me. This song was originally done by an artist that I'm not super familiar with, but it's Kalani. I liked her version of this. It was actually on the Suicide Squad soundtrack, and Gangsta is a pretty cool song in and of itself. and to see their take on it, it opens up slowly. I think that she has a pretty decent voice, and whenever it's used in the right way, it can make for kind of a captivating listen, and here she actually drew me in. I like this cover quite a bit, and I'd be lying if I had said I didn't enjoy the guitars, the way that they layer it on with that atmosphere and just kind of build on what they really laid on the original track. I think those are probably the end of the best covers on this. So it all comes right near the beginning of the record. So what does that leave for the rest of the project? Well, it leaves for a lot of boredom, a lot of time for the mind to wander and really just wonder, what were they thinking? Just putting out some of these songs that feel so dialed in. There is one exception that I'll talk about in just a second. One that grew on me. It took a couple of listens, but we'll talk about it in just a second. Some of these tracks like Fake Love by Capsize, just so utterly lifeless and dull. And then especially the Shape of You cover by Eat Your Heart Out. It's absolutely painful to listen to. It's so boring, it's so try-hard that it's trying to just replicate almost the exact same feel, and especially on Eat Your Heart Out, the vocals are nowhere near as good as even Ed Sheeran's, and not that Ed Sheeran is one of my favorite vocalists. I don't think it was that hard of a task, but I actually heard a band at Warped Tour cover it. I don't even know who was playing. I think it might have been Our Last Night. They do it so much better. I already mentioned the Seaway cover. No hate to them. I think they're a pretty good band, but I do not think that is a good cover. It just kind of sucked as it rolled on and just played the exact same song. And then I Don't Want to Live Forever by Ice Nine Kills. A kind of rough song in the first place, but then trying to put some sort of spin on it, it just lacks any kind of personality whatsoever. It doesn't stand out. It's just like somebody said, hey, I'm gonna go get the hits on YouTube, I'm gonna cover this song, but I'm not gonna do anything differently. I'm just gonna play the song, but you know, here it is, and here I'll get some views. And I feel like that's what Fearless Record does whenever they round up all these people to do covers for them. In the Name of Love closes out this project, and it wasn't a song that I was super familiar with to begin with. I'd only heard it like once or twice. It's originally by Martin Garrix and BB Rexha. You might know her from originally being in Black Cards with Pete Wentz, and here Too Close to Touch covered this track. And I will say, they tried. They definitely put themselves out there. I don't think it's that good of a cover still overall, and I know I'm repeating myself by saying that a lot, but just so many of these things just seem a little bit too tame, or they don't have the original spirit of the band. And what I've heard of Too Close to Touch, they definitely have an aggressiveness and an emotion and high stakes feel to them, but I don't get that here. And maybe that's because the original song doesn't allow them to do that, but maybe they should have picked something else to cover, because this just didn't seem up their alley at all. Now, the final song that I haven't mentioned yet is the Boston Manor cover, and it's of Heathens, originally by 21 Pilots. And the first time I heard it, I didn't care for it. Maybe I wasn't paying it enough attention, but honestly, I think this is one of the better covers here. It actually stands out. There's some really cool guitar parts on this. The drumming and the way the vocals differ slightly, and along with the guitar patterns as well, obviously. They mix it up just a bit, just so it feels different, just so maybe I could come back to this, have something to gravitate towards, because if I was like, hey, I want to hear Heathens, but I want to hear it slightly mixed to more of a rocky feel, I feel like Boston Manor's cover would be the perfect version for that. So I have to give them some praise for that. I just saw them at Warped Tour as well. They killed it on their set. Would have been cool if they had thrown this in there. I think the crowd would have gone crazy. Overall though, Punk Goes Pop Volume 7 is just another cash grab trying to get in on, hey, you know, cover songs, they're cool, they're fun, they're popular, right? So let's stick some of your favorite Rise records, Fearless records, everything else out there. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna bore you. Everything from the opening State Champs cover that just feels a bit dialed in to the closing from of course, Too Close to Touch and Seaway, the closing tracks really just start to bore you. So overall, this project gets a 2 out of 5. What did you guys think of Punk Goes Pop Volume 7? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you're able to, support me on Patreon. It's the annotation over in the corner, and leave a like on the video. If you'd like to see my Punk Goes Pop Volume 6 review, click right there, or another recent review right here. Socials in the description, and I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.